Hey, it's Kat at Orion Billing. This is going to be a very simple, very basic overview for brand new billers or medical providers. I recently spoke to a provider with a new facility, and I explained much of this to him, but I wanted to go through it here in a video in case it's helpful to others in the future. So let's start from the very beginning. This is going to be a more basic explanation on how medical billing works than I've done before, presuming that I'm talking to someone who is brand new to this world. I'm going to walk you through the process step by step, and I'll also explain some of the key players involved, like your software, your clearinghouse, and the insurance companies, so that you can understand how all the pieces connect. So starting with the software, most medical practices, especially today, run on specialty software. That software can be cloud-based, which really only means that it lives on the internet. And then there's server-based or on-premise, locally hosted software that lives on your office server or your local computer. All of these, or most of these, I haven't used all software, has two distinct sides to it. Sometimes they are very thoroughly combined into the same system visually, and sometimes they are two aspects that are very clearly separate or actually two separate softwares, but maybe interconnected only to a small degree. So the first side of the software is called the EMR. That's electronic medical records. This is the clinical side. This is where the patient's medical information lives, their health history, their visit notes, the doctor's notes, the diagnosis codes, their treatment plans, all the documentation from a medical viewpoint. The EMR is a clinical tool. It exists to support the delivery of care and to maintain an accurate medical record for every patient. The providers work in the EMR. The clinical staff works in the EMR. It is the medical backbone of the practice. The second side of a software is the PM, or practice management system. Again, it can visually look like it's the same software. Sometimes it can be a completely different system. But this is the business side and the billing side. This is where scheduling lives, where appointments are entered, where patient demographics and insurance information are stored, where charges are entered, where insurance claims are created, and where payments are posted, meaning they're applied to the open balances for insurance claims or patient statements. Usually there's some functionality for account notes, which is financial notes regarding payment or scheduling notes, that kind of thing. It also, for systems that are able to do it, includes your patient invoicing, generation of patient statements. Oh yeah, sometimes a software will have patient contact ability for patients could schedule themselves or for other types of communication with patients. The PM is what the billing team works in for the most part, as well as the front desk and other administrative people in a practice. It is the financial and administrative backbone of the practice. The software is used along this entire process, this entire flowchart. I have a flowchart here actually that I keep posted at every desk in my office. I created this one myself. It's more detailed and accurate than any others I've ever seen. So if it would be helpful and you want a copy, send me an email. It does a great job of showing the full billing cycle and how it works in detail, and the sequence of events and how each one feeds into the next. But here we go. Step 1 is patient contact. The patient comes in or schedules an appointment. Their demographics and insurance information is entered into the PM. You're collecting their basic information, most ideally before they ever arrive to your clinic, unless you have no forewarning, really, as in urgent care or walk-in clinics. You get their name, their date of birth, their contact info, and their insurance information right from the start. Now, the third step is insurance benefits verification. Ideally, this can happen before the patient ever walks in the door for their appointment. Sometimes a practice will have an upload portal on their website, for example, and require insurance information to arrive to them maybe 24 to 48 hours prior to their appointment so that the practice can check their benefits. The insurance verification process is the process where you make sure that not only the insurance company, but that specific patient policy is going to cover the patient's care with you, because different policies from the same insurance company behave very differently. And sometimes you need to get the services pre-authorized. So this is where you do that process. I do want to mention that for any specialty, this step is truly critical. Skipping it or doing it poorly is one of the most common reasons claims get denied or paid less than expected. It's why patients walk out of the clinic without paying their copays or deductibles, and then you run the risk that they may never pay. So it's wise to do a good job of this step at the front end. It truly does help with the collections at the other end. And practices who do a good job of it are generally financially much healthier. Okay, as far as the software is concerned, sometimes a software has the capability to do an initial benefits or eligibility check. If you have that capability, it's good to use it and have your front desk read it so they might get information on what to collect. Do note that not every insurance will be able to be checked in this way. Not all of them will communicate well with your software in that way. And also that the information that you received may not be nearly detailed enough to know exactly what will be covered. So relying solely on that functionality in a software may completely not do the job in your practice. There are insurance portals that can be checked, and sometimes checking benefits on a website like Availity, which is sort of a hub for insurance information, will give you a lot more detail, because you can look up your specialty or specific codes there to see how that patient's specific policy deals with your treatment and how it's related to their deductibles, copays, or coinsurance, their limitations, and any authorizations that might be needed. With some softwares, you can enter, minimally a note to state what the verification and eligibility check showed you. Sometimes you can enter the details of it directly into prescribed fields, and then the software will sort of schedule it out and give you a pop-up to warn you when the patient has reached their policy limitations, or to let you know when it's time to start working on their next authorization. Okay, this is going to be the end of part 1, because obviously I have a lot to say, there's a lot of detail, and this is getting kind of long and there's a lot more to talk about. If you would like a copy of my medical billing process flowchart, send me an email, and I will put links in the description of this video to the other parts so you can find them. Have a great day.